Okay, Chair, this was everyone who was in our waiting room.
Right, I'm going to call this emergency meeting of a panel, three-member panel of the State Executive Committee to order at this time. We do have a quorum. We have an agenda before us, and we will be abiding by the University Interscholastic League Constitution Contest rules. We're going to jump right into the hearing itself. We have this one hearing today. It's Orange Little Cypress-Mauriceville High School, referral from District 10 4A Division 1 Executive Committee decision regarding the alleged violation of Section 51B1 School District Personnel Violations. Hunter Gonzales, Eric Peevey, Orange Little Cypress-Mauriceville High School. Beasley?
DEC 10-4A Division 1 met on November 4th, 2025, and ruled that Orange Little Cypress-Mauriceville assistant football coach Hunter Gonzales violated the athletic code with alleged use of an opposing team's go route watch with a vote of 5-1, and referred Coach Gonzales to the SEC for further considerations of penalties with a vote of 6-0. DEC 10-4A Division 1 ruled that head coach Eric Peevey did not violate athletic code with a unanimous vote. Additionally, the DEC ruled that Orange Little Cypress-Mauriceville High School football program did not violate the athletic code with a vote of 3-3.
All right, thank you, sir. We'll welcome all of those of you who have joined us today. And first thing we need to do is get you identified. Need you to unmute, and that way we can check your audio and get you introduced, and then we'll get you sworn in as well. We'll start with Mandy Fortenberry.
I am Mandy Fortenberry, Huffman ISD Director of Communication, the DEC.
Okay, are you the chair?
Yes, sir.
DEC chair, thank you. And then William Peevey.
Yes, I'm William Peevey, Athletic Director, Head Football Coach, Little Cypress-Mauriceville ISD.
Thank you, sir. Amber Hawk.
Amber Hawk, Little Cypress-Mauriceville High School Principal.
You're going to have to redo that because you cut yourself off a little quick there.
Little Cypress-Mauriceville High School Principal.
Thank you. Stacy Brister.
Good morning. I'm Stacy Brister, Superintendent of Schools for Little Cypress-Mauriceville School District.
Thank you. Ryan Dubose.
My name is Ryan Dubose. I am the Director of Student Employee Programs at LCM CISD.
Okay, I think we've got some of you folks from LCM maybe all in the same room on different machines, and we're going to get feedback all day long if we do that. So we need to shut the machines down and go to one, consolidate, please. Or go to a different room.
Okay.
Mr. Gonzales, Hunter Gonzales.
Turn your volume up, Stacy.
I think we're going to consolidate to me.
Okay. That's where it ought to be. Consolidate to the boss. Mr. Gonzales. Go ahead for just this whatever. We just need to get you introduced.
Just unmute it.
I think he's in the same room.
Yeah, I know.
Hello, my name is Coach Gonzales. I'm the wide receivers coach and special teams coordinator at Little Cypress-Mauriceville.
All right, thank you, sir. Now you can join the rest of your crew at a different computer then.
Yes, sir.
We got Mike Kelly.
Yes, sir. Mike Kelly, Superintendent, Bridge City ISD.
And you have with you?
I'm Josh Smalley, Athletic Director, Head Football Coach, Bridge City ISD.
All right, thank you. I think that's everyone. Is that correct? We're going to ask you all now to unmute, and we're going to get you sworn in. Please raise your right hand. Caroline will take care of this for us.
Mr. Chair?
Yes?
I don't see Mr. Gonzales. Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Here we go.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, let's talk about our process today. We're going to start. Can I call y'all LCM? Is that the norm? Okay. We're going to start with the LCM folks, and we're going to have some questions for you. We're going to get those answered. We may give you a little opportunity even at the beginning to express some other things, but recognize the fact that we'll come back to you at a later time. You will be the last ones that we'll deal with as well. But there'll be questions ongoing. And then we're going to go to the folks at Bridge City. And once we're finished with those folks, then we're going to go to our district executive committee chair. And then that's when we'll go back to LCM. That's the process. We could be here a long, long, long time, but we are not going to be. Just understand that. You have given us a plethora of information. We have studied that information. We don't need a lot of redundancy today. And be very succinct in everything that you provide us. We want to get to the truth. We want to make great decisions today. Okay? And let me get you introduced to the people who are going to be part of this panel who will be making this decision. Dr. Nivens, we'll start with you.
Good morning, everyone. Roosevelt Nivens, Superintendent Lamar CISD.
Dr. Colwell.
Curtis Colwell, retired superintendent.
And I'm Mike Motherell. I'm also a retired superintendent. Okay, any questions before we begin?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Dr. Harrison.
If I may, just to state for everyone who is here, I have a prior affiliation with one of the schools involved, and as such, I will not be participating in today's meeting. I'm available if there are procedural questions with which staff might need help, but I otherwise will not be participating.
Thank you, Dr. Harrison. Okay. I'll get us started with some information and some, I guess, confirmation actually of some of the information that we do have. I have a couple of questions. First of all, I want to make sure that I know what the score of the ball game was. Did LCM win the game? Is that correct? 24-16, maybe? Somebody needs to answer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Head nods don't work here. We gotta speak up. And was the device in question returned?
No, sir.
It has not
Still
been
missing
returned.
today.
I'm sorry?
It's still missing today. We have deactivated the device.
Okay, very good. Those are important pieces for me. Okay, LCM, and I'll just deal first of all with, is it Dr. Brister?
Sir.
Excuse me? Y'all are turning on and off your audio way too quick. We're only getting a portion of what you're saying. So please reply again.
No, sir, it's Stacy Brister, Miss Stacy Brister.
Thank you, Ms. Brister. We'll just allow you to be kind of y'all's spokesperson, and then you hand it off to whoever you need to when a question is asked, okay?
Okay.
All right. The investigation that y'all went through after you found out what had gone on or you were approached with it, all players and coaches were interviewed, no admittance of knowledge of use of any device. Coach Gonzales, there was accusations of him looking down and all that, and I think the response was that he had a play sheet rather than an electronic device that he was looking at. No in-game complaint was filed against, filed according to the officials. I think LCMU have now adopted a new policy requiring staff to that has found any device such as this untouched until the official collects it. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. You talk about no adjustments being made to the defensive scheme. That was apparent in your minds. Score was consistent with previous years. Coach Gonzales was on an off channel and would not relay information to the defensive coaches. We get into the portion about, and I think this was on video as well, where I think one of y'all's players, one of the Bridge City, one of the LCM players, number 5 probably, handed the device to Coach Gonzales.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
right?
Yes, sir. It was on the 30 hash mark.
Yes, ma'am. And Coach, you indicated, or Coach indicated, did he put that in his pocket? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Coach Gonzales, you're sitting there. What was going through your mind? Did you know what that was?
Yes, sir. I didn't know what it was, but when it was handed to me, he said he found it on the ground, like I stated. So I didn't know if the device was dead, if it was broke, if it was an old watch. So I put it in my pocket, and then shortly after, when it vibrated, that's when I was fully aware of exactly what it was.
Okay. And at that point, you make the statement that you tossed it aside.
Yes, sir.
How come it's never been found?
I don't know, sir. My guess would be maybe somebody on the sideline at some point picked it up.
Where did you toss it?
Toward our bench.
Okay. What should you have done with that?
What I should have done in hindsight, and what I wish I would have done, is I should have given it either to Coach Peevey or to an official.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, new world with all the technologies going on, and I know this is kind of new territory for people. I understand that. I think all of us do, but my goodness, there's some common sense that has to be used in cases. If you saw the band and you had it in your hand, you tossed it, how come recognizing that was something in use that night when it vibrated, you figured that out, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you not know that would put them at a disadvantage and that they would have to maybe stop using the thing? And to me, that's a very important aspect of this whole situation, is that you recognize that even if it was at halftime, why? I'm really having a hard time understanding that. You put them at a disadvantage. No matter what else happens today, there was a disadvantage for Bridge City in this circumstance because they didn't have all their equipment. They went to a point because they didn't know where it was, what it was to be used. I'm assuming that's the reason they quit using it. Didn't know whose hands it had fallen into, those kinds of things. So answer that question. Why?
Why I just tossed it to the side?
Why you didn't, at least at halftime, say, hey, figure in your mind that this thing puts your opponent at a disadvantage. Did you want to take advantage of that? Or did you just not think about it? What happened?
I mean, I think I didn't think about it, sir. I mean, there's a lot going on. I've never been a part of anything like that. It's new territory. And I made a quick, rash decision. And I wish I would have spent more time and thought about it. And I wish I would have said something, like you said, at halftime or at any other later point. I don't think I was trying to sabotage the Bridge City team in any way. It was just a poor decision on my end.
Okay. There's a lot of discussion been made about your movement during the first half and the nature of that being very similar to what receivers and some others were getting when I guess the way this thing works is it vibrates for the players as well, and they look down to see what the play is or something along those lines. Is that accurate,
Yes, sir.
Coach?
Yes, sir, that's accurate.
Okay.
The coach in the booth puts it in an iPad and it goes to a player on the field.
Okay. And how many players does it go to?
We have only our skill guys with it, so it would be our running back, quarterback, and 4 receivers. Our linemen kind of huddle up, and the quarterback tells them to play.
All right. It seems to be, and we've had the opportunity to watch video. We've had the opportunity to look at all the things that have been said by Bridge City. We've looked at your responses as well. That there were times when, at the same time that the offensive team was looking at their watch or their band, you were looking down. That brings some suspicion to it. Can you explain that to us?
I mean, it's early in the football game, and there's a lot of adjustments to be made. Yeah, I keep my special teams depth chart, and then I keep a play sheet with our opening script and third and short, third and medium, third and long situations. In our first offensive possession, we use essentially our whole entire opening script, about 12 plays. That normally lasts us 2 or 3 possessions. So at that point, we're in a little bit of a scramble mode to prepare for the next possession. And I mean, so that's essentially all it is. It is us as an offensive staff preparing for our upcoming possessions.
It just so happens that it coordinated with the same time that they were calling their plays. They'd look down, you'd look down, that kind of thing.
And I'm sure that there's also plenty of times where I look down while the Bridge City kids are not looking down as well.
Okay. What questions do other committee members have at this point? Dr. Caldwell?
Coach Gonzales, do you have any defensive responsibilities on the staff?
No, sir, I do not, and I never have.
Did you at any time, and I didn't see any video of this, did you have any communication with the defensive coordinator or head coach after the watch came into your possession?
No, sir, I did not.
And again, you tossed the watch. Did you toss the watch, place it on the bench? I'm not real clear what you did with it.
I discreetly toss it toward our bench. I didn't want the kids around to see.
Let me ask you this question. What would you have done if in pregame or in and out of the dressing rooms if you'd have found a call sheet from Bridge City, like call sheets you have? What would you have done?
Well, in that situation, I'm sure that I would have returned it.
So you found that the watch came in your possession because one of your players brought it to you. Did you have any doubt in your mind what it was for?
No, sir.
You knew that it was part of the go route technology that they used?
Yes, sir. I just didn't know if it was broke or one that they're using that night. If I found something pregame, it'd be a little easier to make that decision when there's not, a million things going on. It's not chaotic. Everything's slowed down pregame. During the game, it's a little different. And once again, I did make a rash, poor decision.
Thank you.
Mr. Motherall, I've got a question, if possible.
Please, Mr. Zapata.
So, Coach Gonzales, just to be clear, because I couldn't tell from the information that was submitted, the headset that you wear, does it have the capability to switch channels to the defensive side?
Yes, sir. It does have that capability.
Okay, and then I'm looking through
to do it in just a few seconds would be not very easy.
What brand of headsets do you wear?
I'm not sure. Do you know, Coach Peevey?
It's
Red box.
Okay. All right, and then in looking through Ms. Brister's account of this and her statement of events and conclusions, it was noted really in both school districts submissions that Mr. Dubose, at basically after being told that this watch was missing and people were looking for it at halftime, that Mr. Dubose went into the locker room and, according to Ms. Brister's account of this, went to check the locker room with the players for the watch. So I'm sure that Mr. Dubose went in there and was asking questions regarding the watch. Did you at that point in time mention to Mr. Dubose that you had been in possession of the watch and that you threw it back towards the sideline? Because obviously the idea that an administrator would go in at halftime and start asking questions, I think would get the attention of coaches. Did you speak up and say, hey, yeah, I have found it was handed to me and I threw it back towards the bench? Was there a conversation with Mr. Dubose regarding any of this, given his inquiry at halftime?
No, sir. I was not aware that Mr. Dubose was looking for it, and I wasn't aware that anybody was looking for it at halftime. Nobody had ever asked me.
Okay, the last question I guess I have, then that's kind of confusing to me. Ms. Brister, could you kind of explain what Mr. Dubose, it seems like in the information that was presented that he went in actively to look for it and to inquire about the watch. Did that occur? Did that not occur?
Do you want me to tell you that, or he is?
Yeah, I'm asking you if.
Okay, from my investigation was a coach had come across the field and asked Mr. Dubose, hey, we lost a go route watch. And so the bands were about to get on the field. And so, Mr. Dubose did check around. Now, at this time, no one knew that a watch had been found, that there had been one tossed. So at this time, that's not even in the look. And so Mr. Dubose, in interviewing him, said that he did look along the numbers in his original thoughts until he found out otherwise. He thought the go route watch was on the field. And so he's looking around the numbers, the hat, the sideline, the white, the red, that sort of thing. The other coach also asked if he could come over to our sideline and look, and he said, absolutely. And so they did that. Bands are performing, so they go in. Mr. Dubose does go in, and they even referred to kids as knuckleheads to make sure one of these knuckleheads had not picked up the watch. And so when he went into the locker room, he is searching for this watch. Now, we did not get into the conversation of, did you ask a player? What my interpretation of that, he's looking for a watch on one of our kids' hands. And did we pick up a watch, and are we having that used by one of our players? And so he is searching in there for that action, or for that description. But I don't know if he actually had conversation with individual people based on do you have the watch? Do you have the watch? Have you seen the watch? But he didn't actually even go over all the way to the bench. He was more on the sideline thinking that, hey, there's a go route watch somewhere on this field, and maybe even toward our side. And so that was his investigation of that.
So just in your statement of events and conclusions, you mentioned on number 7 that at Coach Lee's request, Mr. Dubose checked into the locker room with the players. I do see it says that no watch was found and no discussions occurred. From your understanding and talking to Mr. Dubose, he didn't think to go to Coach Peevey, and when he went to do the locker room search at Coach Lee's request, and mention the watch at all, from your understanding?
From my understanding, he did not talk to Coach Peevey at all. And I think that when you go into a locker room, I've never been into a football locker room, by the way, but my understanding of that is there's roles that are going on in that locker room at halftime, that there's just not a lot of where they just have these candid conversations or conversations about this particular subject. But no, he did not talk to Coach Peevey about the watch during this time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let Mr. Dubose expound on that just a moment.
Yes, sir. When I
Go ahead.
Sorry. I've worked for Coach Whitley a number of years, and so when he came over after that, after we had glanced on the sideline, he asked me if any of my knuckleheads had it, and I said I'll go ahead and check. When I go in the locker room, it's pretty organized. You have the offensive staff going over plays. You have the defensive staff going over their stuff. I never thought in a million years something would have been given to a coach. I did glance and see if any of the coaches are looking at it, but I mainly looked through the players. The players in the weight room area. I looked to see if any watch was on a wrist or any watches dropped on the ground. But at the time, I never really even believed that there could have been a watch turned in. I just thought there might have been dropped somewhere. But I did check in players. No players had it. All coaches were talking about coaching things of the second half. Nothing of the nature of anybody huddling around to watch or anything like that.
Okay. Yes, Dr. Nivens.
Yes, sir. This question is for Mr. DuBose. So, Mr. DuBose, just to be clear, you walked in the locker room and you didn't ask anyone any questions. You just looked for the watch and left. You didn't ask any students, any adult staff. You didn't ask anyone any questions.
No, sir. I had searched the locker room for the watch. I looked to see if any watch was on a player's hand. None of that was of that case. And then I bet the coach staff they were in their meeting. I didn't see anything of that either. But no, sir. To answer your question, no, sir. I didn't pull Peevey aside and say there's a watch that had been dropped on our sideline. Have you seen anything like that of that nature? If I had thought, if Coach Lee would have told me from the beginning that, hey, one of these watches was turned into your coach, one of your coaches may be in possession, I absolutely would have searched anybody with that. I wouldn't want any wrongdoing like that occurs. But nothing. When that initial conversation with Coach Lee, he said one of my players had lost a watch on a kickoff. And so I honestly thought it was just misplaced or something like that. I didn't think of any wrongdoing of a coach or a player. So if he would have said, "Hey, one of these watches was found by one of the players and handed to Coach Gonzales," believe me, I would have pulled Coach Gonzales aside and grabbed a watch if it would have been on him, or any other coach that would have been in.
Yes, sir. So how often do you conduct searches?
Sorry, I'm gonna have to turn on my audio. We turned it off. Yes, sir. I'm good now.
How often do you conduct searches?
Well, I've been a high school principal, or I was a high school principal for 6 years. Before that, as anybody high school principal that's gone through there, you normally have to conduct searches all the time. Now, this is my first type of search within a game. I've never had to search something during a game, but I've had to search in the past as a high school principal for of all paraphernalia.
Right. And so what's your normal process when you're a high school principal conducting searches?
Well, normally you have like a something that you're looking for, or a name that you're looking for. And so usually you pull the name aside. Like if so-and-so has this in possession, you pull the backpack out, you search their backpack, you search them, you question them. But usually this is done in an office, using an office somewhere. Most of the searches I've been a part of have been drugs or vapes or something of that nature. And so you are a little personable with it. But I mean, as a high school principal, you do that fairly often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Dr. Colwell.
Bridge City may have to answer this question, but are there any identifiable markings on the wristband or the device itself that it identifies itself as a go route or property of Bridge City Athletics football? Is there any identifiable markings on the device?
There are no identifiable markings on the device. It's a band, kind of looks like an Apple Watch in a protective covering for weather, but there are no identifiable markings on the watch.
Thank you. Mr. DuBose, and I'll ask this question again for anyone on LCM. There's the use of iPads in the locker room at halftime. Was anybody using those?
Yes, sir. They bring iPads in the locker room. Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
what the offensive staff was looking at when I walked in.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Coach Gonzales, you made one comment a while ago I want to ask about when you tossed the band. You made the comment you didn't want any of the kids to see that. Can you expound on that? Why? What was your purpose there?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you at the beginning.
When you tossed the piece of technology that's in question, when you tossed it, you made the comment earlier that you kind of did it discreetly. You didn't want any of the kids to see it. What was that purpose? Why didn't you want the kids to see it? What was the situation?
Yeah, I didn't really, you know, I didn't want them to see it. I didn't want it to be a distraction. I wasn't really sure exactly, kind of what was going on in the situation, and I just didn't want the kids to see it. I didn't want them to talk about it. I didn't want them to pick it up and use it, to cheat. I just kind of wanted to avoid that.
Okay.
Mr. Mother, I've got a follow-up.
Let me go to Dr. Nivens and then I'll get to you, Mr. Zapata.
Yep.
Dr. Nivens.
Excuse me. So Coach, how long have you been coaching?
Yes. 10 years.
10 years. What subject do you teach?
Currently ISS.
Okay. And so, again, I kind of ask the same line of questions I asked Mr. DeBose. Normally, in the classroom, if you find a student that it has something they should not have, what's your normal process that you would go through if you found a student that was cheating on the exam or to somewhere they should not have been or doing something they should not have been? What would be your normal process?
I would talk to the student, question the student, get the information that I need, and then I would send it to the appropriate people, whether that's the APs, the principal, and go from there.
Mm-hmm. And so I asked that because, our normal process, it's like muscle memory. If you just kind of do it for a long time, it's kind of natural to what you do. So what you're saying is a student gave you the watch. You didn't think it was activated. It was activated. It was buzzing in your pocket. And normally you would have asked some questions, but at this point in time, you decided to discreetly throw it to the side or toss it or whatever to the sideline, so the students so they didn't have attention to, so it wouldn't bring attention to the students, right?
Yes, sir. And this is it's a brand new device. It's the first year that it's ever been involved. I've never seen anybody be in this situation. I've never talked to anybody in this situation. I've never thought about this situation. And there's a whole bunch going on. We as coaches, we probably make thousands of decisions a day, and I was faced with one that I've never been a part of. I've never thought about, and in that brief moment, I made the wrong decision.
Yes, sir. I got it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Spada?
Yeah, kind of along those lines of this being new, Coach, it could be to you and or Coach Peevey. I know that we sent out a lot of communication regarding these devices and where they're permitted and who's permitted to have them. And we sent out communication on April the 24th. Coach Martinez, that's on this hearing as well, sent out a video on June the 2nd. It was part of the coaches certification program that I know that you and Coach Peevey took in July. And then we sent out yet another bit of information in late July, specific to things to consider as we got into the new season. One of the points that was made in all of that communication was that the only place that wearable technology, the only folks that could be in possession of that were the actual players on the field. No one else at all on the field or in the sidelines or in the team areas could be in possession of any type of wearable technology. That was actually bolded in this communication. Given all of that communication and the fact that it was very clear that you received it, I double checked the emails. When you got it and you actually realized what it was, I know this is almost a redundant question, but given the frequency of this communication, knowing you shouldn't have had any type of technology, why didn't you just immediately give that to the official?
So I don't know. Like I said, I made a bad decision. I was thinking about a lot of things at the time, and I never really was able to just get my full focus and slow down and think about it. Like I said, I made a quick decision that was the wrong one.
You are aware, though, from that communication, I think even before you went to this game in late October, that the only folks that could have that technology were the actual players on the field that were having calls transmitted to them, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then just one last question. This would be for the folks at Bridge City. I know that the Go Route technology allows for watches, etc., to be searched for. Did you guys try to utilize that function after the contest to search for that watch?
We went after the game and looked. Once we didn't know where the watch was until after the game was over when we downloaded Huddle, and then we saw the clip of the young man picking it up and bringing it to coach on the sideline. That's when we first discovered what had actually happened to it. And so we went after the game, searched the sideline area, couldn't find it. We called Go Route. They told us that they can't ping, that these watches cannot be pinged right now, kind of like an Apple Watch can. And so we kind of just don't know what happened to it, really. We just know it went, when they tried to activate them the next day, 11 of them activated, one of them did not. And so we called them and asked them to deactivate it, turn it off. And we've since ordered another one.
Okay, thank you.
All right, one last question before we turn most of our emphasis toward Bridge City, and that let's see, Coach. Let me see how I was going to say. There was some discussion about how you went in at halftime. And we're going to get Bridge City to describe that for us, because they're saying that's part of their information that they're using to believe that there was an advantage given. When you went in at halftime, anything significant about that? Was it just normal for you?
Yes, sir. It was normal for me. I'm not really sure what they are.
I'm not either. We'll find out.
Okay.
But I'm just asking, was there anything abnormal about the way you went in at halftime?
No, the only thing that was abnormal is our last play at half when we were nailing it out. Bridge City kind of rushed on the knee. Then our kid gave him a little pushback. Maybe a little scrum out there was it's getting a little heated, so us coaches kind of came onto the field, face our sideline, make sure our kids weren't going to run out there. And then we go into half with the lead and everybody's excited. But no, that was probably the only difference, is that we kind of went on the field to make sure our kids weren't going to come off the sideline.
Okay, thank you. We're going to switch our emphasis now to Bridge City. Thank you, LCM, for your answers. We'll be back to you. Okay. Mr. Kelly, are you going to be the one speaking for the most part?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Man, we've got a lot of information from you guys, and appreciate it, really do, from all of you, both sides, the specificity that we have. But what I need to ask is, you, in your words, say that the facts are clear. The device was never returned. We were forced to deactivate. You talk about Coach Gonzales' behavior and mannerisms during the first half of the game compared to both the second half and all other game films. Be very specific, be very concise right now in that discussion. We don't need everything. I don't want to hear about every piece of video. Just tell us in generalities specifically what, I know that sounds like a oxymoron, but generally, what were the specific issues that you saw in his behavior and mannerisms?
Specific to the mannerisms in the first half, there are multiple times we submitted the 23 clips, and we submitted we submitted all clips that we had when we were on offense and he was in the picture. So these picks were not cherry picked to tell a certain narrative. We showed every pick. The mannerisms, when our wide receivers are looking down at their wrist, coach is on the sideline in the same picture looking down at his wrist. As soon as our wide receivers received the play and dropped their wrist and start adjusting their feet to get in formation, you see Coach Gonzales raise his head and walk down the sideline toward the defensive staff. You see his hand go to his microphone, and it happens over and over. And you know,
that answers my question.
In the second half and in all of the other 4 films that we watched, he is out in the white area. He's out in front of coaches. He's not hiding behind players, hiding behind the sticks or the chains or the down marker or coaches. He's out in front of everybody, engaged in the game, watching what's going on the field, looking at the other sideline. And in the DEC meeting, when he was questioned why his behavior changed from the first to second half, he stated that he was out there trying to get our hand signals in the second half.
Okay. And what did that mean to you?
What that meant to me was it brought me to the question of if he is trying to steal our hand signals in the second half, who is he going to communicate, and what is he going to communicate that, you know, to them?
Okay.
And so I have reason to believe that he's not out trying to steal our signals in the first half, because he has the exact play on his wrist. And when he is communicating and when he's raising his microphone and talking to coaches and pointing things out like a reverse that hasn't even happened yet, and he's pointing to a player that's going to receive the ball on the reverse, that he had that exact play on his wrist and was communicating that to somebody.
So it is your thoughts that he did not toss the device, what you're saying?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Sir, he has the special teams depth chart, but every play, every down and distance, he's looking down, and sometimes multiple times within the same play. So 1st and 10, we're looking down at our special teams depth chart to see what I'm going to do on punt return. And then again on 2nd down, having to look down multiple times.
We understand. Let me ask you a specific question. The video of him running off the field at halftime, what about that makes it a point to be discussed?
That was a video that was taken on their sideline by an LCM photographer. We submitted a picture before the game of Coach Gonzales wearing an Apple Watch on his right wrist. So you could see that, but also identify him in all the clips. That video at halftime and those 3 still photos that were taken from that video show a black band on his left wrist as he's exiting the field. And if one of our coaches and multiple administrators on LCM are looking on the sideline for this device and can't find it, that leads me to believe that it wasn't on the sideline. It was taken to the locker room.
Okay. What questions do you have for Bridge City at this point? Committee members or staff? Yes, Dr. Colwell.
Just give me a brief description and an example of a play that is communicated on the device, what it would say. Is it descriptive in words? Is it descriptive in numbers?
I will let Coach do that, but it is plain language. It is bubble. It is reverse. It is forverts. It's counter. Anybody with any limited knowledge of football at all can look at that watch and see counter, forverts, bubble, reverse. There's no code language on the watch.
Okay. That Coach doesn't need to answer. You've answered that. Thank you.
Other question, Mr. Zapata, did you have something? Okay. What else would you say very succinctly, Mr. Kelly?
two things that I find very disturbing. One, when Coach Smalley first reaches out right after the football game at 10:49 p.m. after he's watched huddle and sees what has happened, he reaches out to Coach Peevey at 10:49 p.m. and he says, "Coach, we just got on the bus. I'll ask him." Nearly 2 full days later, on Sunday afternoon at 4:45, we still haven't heard from LCM about this watch. So Coach Smalley and one of our other coaches reach out again, looking for some answers. So first is just the lack of response, but second, and mainly, and probably even of more significance, in the DEC meeting, Coach Peevey stated, "When we got to the field house, I'm still amped about the game. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you 100%. The clip and the watch is probably about 7 or 8 on my priority list at this point." So let that sink in. An opposing head coach and athletic director was reaching out to inform Coach Peevey that their offensive communication device, which had been reported on LCM's sideline and was still missing, could have provided full access to Bridge City's play calls for the entire first half, yet recovering that device was 7th or 8th on the priority list of the AD of LCM. And the last thing I will say is Coach Gonzales's testimony during the DEC. It's very important to note that his testimony took place after a 3-3 vote on Rule 23 of the exceptions of the NCAA football rules. And first he says, "My assumption was a watch broke and I put it in my pocket." A little bit later, a superintendent asked him why his mannerisms were so different between the first and second half. And he stated, "I positioned myself so I could see their hand signals." And again, that we've talked about that. So then he's pressed a little bit further and says, "When it buzzed, did you look down and see a play?" And he said, "Well, I had an idea of what it was when it was handed to me." So that coach again pressed and said, "Did you see a play on the watch or not?" He said, "No, sir, I just knew what it was." Then a superintendent picked up on that and said, "You knew what it was when it was handed to you?" And he responds, "Yes, I knew it was their way of sending in their offensive plays." And again, all of that testimony takes place after a 3-3 vote on Rule 23. So one can't help but question how the vote might have been different had Coach Gonzales provided this testimony before the vote on Rule 23.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Questions for these folks? Okay. Appreciate it. Let's go to our district chair. Fortenberry, the vote, what was the order of events based upon the discussion we just had? What was the order that y'all went in at your DEC meeting?
So we started out with the rule exception 23, and there was much discussion and much testimony, and everyone was heard from. We started out with LCM presenting their side or statement of findings, went through a very long, intensive play-by-play of their preparation of the game and all things,
Right.
what they did.
What was
There
next?
were multiple people involved in their in their testimony. Coach Gonzales was involved when he was referred to, but most of it was handled by Ms. Brister and Coach Peevey. Then we moved on to Bridge City's statement of findings, their whole side. Then we had LCM give a rebuttal.
Yes, ma'am. I think I probably muddled it a little bit in
That's okay.
asking my questions. All I want to know is your agenda for that hearing. What you
Okay,
said 23
so
was first, what was next?
23 was first, and then the next was Coach Gonzales specifically, and the next was Coach Peevey specifically, And then the next item was the rest of the football program, sort of like what you have on this agenda.
Okay, thank you. Now, this is a very difficult question, especially in this hearing, but going to ask you why you feel like, first of all, that Coach Gonzales received the 6-0 vote. What were the deciding factors that you heard from the committee members? Again, asking you to get into somebody's head, and that's sometimes difficult, but I think you heard some things. So please
I did.
be
I
very
said,
succinct
I
here.
will, after 4 hours of listening. So the specific vote on Coach Gonzales that he was unethical was 5-1, and then we voted 6-0 to refer it to the state executive committee. My speculation is that his story did evolve. In the beginning, it was, I put it in my pocket, I tossed it towards the bench. And then his story did evolve throughout the hours of testimony, and then very pointedly, I think it was Livingston ISD Superintendent Dr. Pack asked him, so you knew what it was when you put it in your pocket? And he said yes. And then there was no further question after that. We took a vote that he violated the ethics code, and that was 5-1. And then it was immediately went into a superintendent made a motion to refer the punishment phase to the state executive committee.
Okay. All right. What about the decisions on Coach Peevey and on the football program? Let's go football program first. That was a 3-3, right?
No. So the 3-3 came in the beginning on the use of technology on the sideline.
Okay.
The athletic
So
code.
it was voted that it was not an issue?
Say that again, please.
What was the outcome of that?
That was the 3-3 vote.
So the 3-3 vote was that they did not violate the athletic code.
Right. Since we didn't have the majority,
Right.
They did not violate.
What was the pertinent aspects of that discussion? Just like you described what went on with Coach Gonzales, what was it that led to that 3-3 vote?
My speculation from listening to everyone in the room is that some of the members of the DEC wanted definitive evidence that Coach Gonzales used the technology on the sideline and gained a competitive advantage. And some of the superintendents went with it was more likely than not that he used the technology.
Okay. All right. What else would you, as a district chair, want to say to us today?
It's been a long week, but like I said, I think that the biggest thing for what came out of my district on Tuesday is that some superintendents wanted definitive proof, and some were more likely than not. And then I don't know that anyone in that room believed that the entire football program was involved.
Okay. Questions for our chair? Mr. Spada?
Yeah, just one thing, and this was heavily talked about right now by Ms. Fortenberry. You know, one of the things that it sometimes is confusing to DECs is what is the burden of proof and standard. And I think she just said it right, that what we typically say to DECs that it should be the preponderance of evidence. And I'm assuming based on the dichotomy of thought and that led to maybe different outcomes and votes that I guess I would just ask that moving forward that your DEC understands like what the standard is that we typically utilize or recommend utilizing in these cases, that it is a preponderance of evidence. I think that would help guide decision making moving forward. I'm saying irrespective of this one specific situation.
Right. And I use those exact words that you just used, the preponderance of evidence.
But that counters a little bit with some of the decision making you think
Right.
some of those members were utilizing.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go back to LCM now, and there'll be a couple of questions and then some final words from you folks. Coach Gonzales, let me ask you this question. The picture of you watch-wise, explain that.
Yeah, so they took a screenshot from a video while I'm jogging, and it's pretty clear that there is no band on my wrist. That would be a shadow, like I said in the DEC meeting. In the DEC meeting, I wore the same exact top that I wore during the game, and I showed them that the sleeves are long, they bunch up, and it casts a shadow. Yeah, I mean, the band is large. If it was a band and I was on the sideline with 10 cameras on our sideline, people everywhere, there's Bridge City people holding the sticks and the chains, somebody clearly would have seen me with that big band on my wrist. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Other particular questions before we allow them to summarize and finalize?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Nivens?
This is for Coach Peevey. You know, there's a certain code with coaches because you know, and I'm an old coach too, and so you know we all understand the 24. It's a 24/7 hour. It's a 24/7 gig, right? You know, you're taking care of kids, and but also you know what your opponents are going through because they're doing the same thing you are. Tell me about your level of concern about this missing device, because I know you said it was 7th or 8th on your list of priorities. Why were you not more concerned about that? If that had been you missing that device, why were you not more concerned about finding that?
It's a great question. Honestly, the thought of this device ever being used by us or anything, that never even crossed my mind, just because I know it didn't. So we've lost multiple wristbands. We've lost things like that. And I know it's new technology and it's technology and that's different. But like I said, we've lost things before, go through it. We get back to the field house. I start the laundry. The other coaches are gone. And I'm just really I mean, it's 12 midnight at night. So that's really not, like I said, it's not that it wasn't important, but it wasn't at the highest level because there was no thought in my mind where I was at during the game, knowing what was going on during the game, knowing our team that this would ever even be a possibility to where we're at right now. The only time period in the entire game when a watch even crossed my brain, I didn't know that they used watches before. That's something I don't look for. We've never used them. We've never played anybody with them. So during the third quarter, an official gave me a watch or walked up to me and said, "Hey, one of your players dropped this watch." And I said, "That's not mine. Please bring it back to the other sideline." And so he was like, "Yeah, sure, coach." And he brought it back over. That's the only instance of seeing a watch during a game is when I had official come up to me with that. So like you're talking about the level of importance, and I understand that completely. This is a 24/7, 365 job. This is 23rd year of me doing this. And it is like when everybody else goes home, we're up there doing laundry, past it. And that's my thought process of this. Yes, I hindsight, just like Coach Gonzales was talking about earlier, I'm understanding, but we've lost play sheets before. We've lost wristbands and normal wristbands before. I never saw that as an importance of what it is because there was no use of it. So I didn't even really kind of comprehend what they were asking for besides looking for it. And so that if that answers your question.
It does. It does. And so who contacted you again to let you know the watch was missing?
Coach Molly at 10:45. I was on the bus. This was after the game. not during the game or halftime. This was after the game. I cleaned up the opponent's locker room, made sure we leave it better than where we found it. Last one on the bus with the players. I'm getting a sip of water, and all of a sudden I get this text message from Coach Smalley.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Other questions? All right. Ms. Brewster? Final discussions.
Yes, sir. This has been a learning experience for all of us. We, new technology, times are changing and the way the game is played. I can tell you that if, as a superintendent, we have got to do what is right. And I want to be the example for kids that we do what is right. And obviously, Coach Gonzales had a slip there that he should have turned it back over and he didn't. But overall, I know that if we would have come up with this situation and the investigation proved that we were using it, and I, as a non-football person, I've watched hundreds of hours of football and trying to figure out, did we use this? Did we not? Where are you standing? Where are you not? What's in your hand? Look at this piece of paper. I've even gathered the piece of paper. Coach Gonzales walks continuously. I have, that is one thing I have come to realize. I asked him how many steps he takes a game. He says usually about 25,000. And so that is one thing that when you see him as evidence of his movement, it's really not evidence because he moves all the time. But I do believe the watch band is large. If it was on his arm, you would have seen it. That is a shadow on his wrist. It's a huge band. I had never seen one until the DEC meeting. I believe that the 3-3 vote was yes, that it may have been about preponderance of evidence, but I feel like as a superintendent that no one really came out and said that, oh, we wanted more evidence. They didn't ask for that. Our decision was, did we use this? And that's where the 3-3 vote came from, and that some were not sure if we'd used it. I felt like we provided a very, very good amount of evidence, and you saw it. It's a lot of showing that, no, this is circumstantial. When he's looking at his hand or his wrist, he's got a piece of paper in it. And if the clip continues to run, you see him walk, because he walks constantly with that piece of paper in his hand, backwards and forwards. You see both sides of it. There's no way he has a watch hidden behind a piece of paper. There's no way that happened, because we can see both pieces of paper, both sides as he's walking. And the question that Coach Peevey, I didn't think really answered as full as he could. These men also have families. And when Friday night is over and it's Halloween weekend and your wife says you're going to have a hayride for 70 kids, you're going to be distracted in whether there's a watch or not. And so that's part of their life beyond the game. I know what they give over the weekend. I see how many hours they're up there all the time. But bottom line, we would have self-reported if we were not, if we cheated in this game, we would have self-reported. We would have had consequences for that, and we would have dealt with that, because I want to beat you. And I've said this many times to the DEC. I want to beat everybody in the room. I want to win, but I'm not willing to win by cheating. And so I guess that's just it. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence out here that says we did, we didn't, but we did not use this device. Did we properly take care of this device? No, we did not. And it was 6-0. It was clear that Coach Peevey did not know about this, that the rest of our LCM coaches didn't know about this, that it was 6-0 for both of those on a local level from the area superintendents. And you know, when you get into a DEC, I shared this with one of your UIL people. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not about right, wrong. It's about how does this help our team? And I felt like the superintendents did not do that. I felt like they came in wanting the truth. They could not make a decision of that truth. They were in question. Did they? Did he not? Did he? Did he not? And so that's why there was a 3-3 vote on that. But I do know the 6-0 indicated that Coach Peevey did not know about this. Our other coaches did not know about this. And I just want this committee to understand, you know, if you've ever been a coach or a superintendent, you know what life is like on a weekend where that's why
Yes,
this
ma'am.
watch wasn't as important.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry. So,
All right. Thank you. Let me ask you one question though, ma'am. You talked about, had you known something was off, you would have self-reported. Have you had to self-report before in recent years?
we have self-reported in the past. Yes, sir.
And have you ever self-reported on Coach Gonzales?
Yes, sir. We
Anything
have.
he's done?
Yes, sir. We have. We've
And Coach
like,
Peevey?
I guess Coach Peevey was I'm not sure if Coach Peevey was included in that or not.
Are we talking about the situation, excuse me, with a kid who played in 2 different games the same night?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was, I will tell you, you know, we have to look at all aspects and see what history is and what the traditions are and how y'all's program has been run, those kind of things. That one was very disturbing to me. I got to tell you that. And it kind of tainted this whole other situation for me as I looked at things. It painted a picture for me because you had a this is a JV football player. And he played earlier in a freshman game, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And he was a coach's son, which no big deal other than he stayed on to be involved. But he changed jerseys. He changed uniforms and ends up as the backup quarterback going in, apparently, for 3 plays or whatever it was. And yeah, you self-reported it. But why in the world would you have that kid on the sideline? Why would you have him there changed into a uniform so he could have played? Which coach was in charge of that?
Coach Gonzales was the play caller. Thank you. Play caller.
Coach Gonzales, answer that question.
Yes, sir. I was the JV play caller that year. I was not the JV head coach. I was just the JV play caller. And like I said in the DEC meeting, I don't recall if I specifically told the kid to go in, but I will say as the play caller for the offense for the JV, that responsibility would fall onto me if he went into the game.
Okay.
I never told the kid to change uniforms. I never told the kid to be ready to be the backup quarterback for the JV.
But he was. Coach Peevey, answer that question.
Yes, sir. I talked. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I talked to his dad about that situation immediately after the game. I'm having to turn my volume up so I can hear you at this point. Immediately after the game because his dad, who was also an offensive coach for us that coaches running backs, calls the freshman offense, brought the jersey, switched him over into it.
Why?
Sir?
Why?
And I do not know. And that's why, that was discussed ahead of time.
Enough said. Okay. We have beat this thing to death, I think. I think we're about ready to make some decisions here. I would like to, first of all, hear from staff. Mr. Zepeda, as the individual, as the athletic director, and as the person who's very involved in the technology side of things here and communicating with schools and what went on here. And you've heard everything that's been said today. You already knew a lot of this going in because you'd been involved and read through all this information. Your thoughts, please.
Well, I think it is a little bit disappointing that Coach and Ms. Brister just mentioned this, that Coach didn't, he obviously did not handle the situation with the watch right. I mean, I think he admitted in the DEC meeting that he understood when it was handed to him under oath. He admitted he understood what it was when it was handed to him. He knows what the rules are related to technology. It is new, but there has been so much communication relative to this in different forms and fashions that I know he knows, as does Coach Peevey, because I've known Coach Peevey for many, many years, that this is not allowed. The only people that can have any type of technology utilizing the transmission of plays are the actual players who are supposed to be receiving that communication. And so knowing those rules, obviously that was mishandled. I don't think that can be misstated. I do think that Ms. Brister summarizes this very well. I think that you have to then understand to see whether that watch was actually being used. If it was being used, that would be a compromising of the integrity of the contest, and I think that would require forfeiture. I don't know that anybody knows that. She kind of mentioned that, and there was obviously discussion a lot of discussion, hours of discussion at the DEC meeting trying to determine whether it was actually being utilized and if they gained a competitive advantage. Hard for me to know that, but I could absolutely say with pretty good confidence that the situation with the watch was mishandled. Every coach in Texas knows those watches, knows the company, knows what they're used for, and knows who should be having them. I think that's very clear. With that being said, I don't know if we have AJ Martinez on here. He's our assistant athletic director in charge of football, who was responsible for a lot of this communication, if he would have anything to add to my comments. AJ?
I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I think, with that plenty of communication that was sent out on what is and what is not allowed within the team area or even on the field, period. And Coach knew that, even when he put it in his pocket and possibly threw it towards the bench area, which, I mean, that could be said here or there, doesn't even matter, but they do know that it was put out there. It's in the CCP, just like Ray Cepeda talked about there. And essentially, did they use it or did they not use it? That was the big question. So, and another thing to add, we do have that stuff where the officials aren't responsible for policing that sort of stuff. So if they did see it, it's not their job to police and decide who's using it and who's not using it.
Okay.
I would suggest this, the way that Coach Peevey handled the situation with the watch is exactly how that situation should have been handled earlier. And so I think that if that had been done that way, we would not be in this situation. And you have the hard task of trying to really see if there's a preponderance of evidence that they gained a competitive advantage from having that watch.
Well said. Thank you. Dr. Colwell, Dr. Nivens, comments, please, at this time.
Yeah, going back to I was going to ask this question earlier, but since we're back on the competitive advantage piece, approximately how many offensive plays were run by Bridge City after it was discovered that the watch was missing?
We ran 26 offensive plays, 148, 150 total yards. With the watch, 19 plays, 24 total yards.
Thank you. So there were 19 plays.
19 plays on the watch for 24 total yards. 26 plays off the watch, 148 total yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 successful 2-point conversions.
That was in the first half.
That all the 26 plays and all of the scoring was in the second half. The first half, the 19 plays, 24 total yards on the bands, that was first half.
Thank you.
Anything else, Dr. Colwell?
No.
Dr. Nivens, any comments?
No, sir.
All right. It's time for us to make a decision here. Anybody else need to say anything? I don't want to walk away from here. Yes, Mr. Dubose, quickly.
I just wanted to make it clear, because I don't know if it was, excuse me, there were 4 things to vote on. It was the 3-3 with the technology use. Then it went to Gonzales, which is 1-5. That's why we're here. But the 2 later things was 6-0. Did Coach Peevey doing anything unethical? it was in our favor. And the last, did any other coach on the coaching staff do anything unethical? 6-0. And I thought that's what the committee thought, as in, was it, did it get transversed to the defense or anything like that? Did that involve competitive advantage? They felt like, in my understanding, that it was Coach Gonzales did something wrong. But as far as the rest of the LCM staff, it was 6-0 and 6-0 with Coach Peevey. So
Okay.
I think that was important to know. Coach Dr. Kelly mentioned that it was after, but the two votes of did anybody else do wrong on the sideline or was it a competitive advantage was 6-0 in LCM's favor. It seemed like that was a misunderstanding, and I felt like I needed to say something on that.
Appreciate that
I
clarity.
apologize.
Did it create a disadvantage when we did not have the watch? We had to get off our technology and go to signaling that we had not done all year long. I think that's a big piece.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you. Well, we've got a decision reached this time, and Coach Gonzales was referred to us for further consideration of penalties with a vote of 6-0 after a 5-0 vote, as was already been discussed. And I think our opportunity here is to determine what we need to do with Coach Gonzales as far as consequences are concerned. I think it all plays together because there's no way to provide consequences unless we feel like we need to discern whether or not it was used. Did he use it to any advantage? And I think that's the decision that each of us, the three of us, have to make at this particular time. So with that in your minds, we need to make the determination on what Coach Gonzales's consequences need to be for either his bad decision or his bad decision and inappropriate use of the technology. Do I have any discussion at this point? Dr. Colwell, anything you want to say? This one's.
Yeah, I think that, when you're dealing with something new, and I don't know how many go route watches are used in this particular district. I don't know if it's commonplace or whether this was an experience where Coach Gonzales is handed the watch. First time he'd experienced it. I think he said he obviously knew what it was, but I think we wouldn't be sitting here if he'd have done two things. One, handed it to his head coach or handed it to the official. I don't know if again, as it was noted, the officials aren't responsible for monitoring that stuff. But it goes back to a quick, decision. If you're in the press box and you find somebody's call sheet, what do? It's an ethical decision. I think that in this particular case, Coach Gonzales did not make in light of everything we know now in the discussion, probably didn't make the right decision about what to do with the watch when it came within his possession. The fact that the watch missing and hasn't been found, not to, that we could talk about that, where that leads us, but I really don't see the watch on the other hand in the clips. There can be something, there can be not. I would say that is really egregious if you walked around and put the wrist, the watch on your wrist. I don't particularly see that. That doesn't preclude from him pulling it out of his pocket or shielding with his play call sheet and looking at the information. So I think that I think Coach Gonzales probably is going to need some disciplinary action because of how he handled the situation. And I think that probably is going to fall into the area of some game suspension. Whether I have no idea whether that LCM is headed to the playoffs or not, or whether this is tonight is the end of the season. If that is the case, then I think any game suspension should go to next year as well. But somebody going to need to answer that question for me, whether this is the last game of the season tonight or not.
Y'all are headed to the
No, we
playoffs.
have we are in the playoffs, and we will be playing next Friday also.
Okay.
We just don't know who yet.
Dr. Nivens, you've heard Dr. Colwell. Are you you have anything you want to add?
I agree with Dr. Caldwell. I think my main concern is that Coach Gonzales is not a rookie to coaching. He's a 10-year veteran.
That's true.
And my line of questioning earlier about all coaches are in the same fight, if you will. I'm concerned about the level of respect that he has for his counterparts in other districts on other teams, because I would just imagine if there would be any other coach like Coach Peevey did, that's not ours. You can send that back, and I'm really torn with with the fact that he decided just to toss it to the sideline.
Yeah.
That really does bother me, being a 10-year veteran. That really does bother me. But I agree with Dr. Colwell on the game suspension and any other disciplinary consequences that we see fit.
Well, I'm going to offer a suggestion because I concur of a public reprimand, 2 years probation, and suspension for the remainder of this football season for Coach Gonzales, because you made a decision. It may not have felt like a big decision at the time, but that was an ethical decision that you made, and that's kind of where I'm coming from at this point. Could I get a motion of any kind at this time, Dr. Nivens?
Yes, sir. I move that we take your motion. Yes, sir.
Public recommend 2 years probation and a suspension for the remainder of the season. Dr. Colwell, you have anything to say?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, please raise your right hand. That is unanimous. Now we need to talk about, we're here today, and the way this reads, and staff, correct me if I'm wrong here, but we're here for school district personnel violations. Is that accurate?
I think that is accurate. Obviously, I think you being as experienced as you are, know that each of these is a new hearing, right? And there's
Yes, sir.
totality of information could be possibly considered.
Yes, sir.
But yes, on the agenda, it is personnel.
Okay, so we need to talk about Coach Peevey. I think that from what I've heard from members at this time, committee members, is that the fact that he turned that watch in at a point in time when he did exhibited something that should have been done earlier, and don't know that we can find any fault with him at this point. Am I accurate in that analysis of what y'all might be thinking?
It coincides with my thoughts.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so no action there. The DEC rule that Orange Little Cypress-Mauriceville High School football program did not violate the athletic code with a 3-3 vote. We're our hands are a little bit tied. I will just say this. I have a very suspicious nature sometimes when it comes to things, Mr. Kelly. I will tell you that down deep inside, I wonder what kind of advantage was gained here. I just can't get there. I can't find that advantage. I came into this meeting with a very open mind, and I'm having a hard time being able to pinpoint an advantage other than the advantage of the fact that, and Mr. Kelly, you were very specific about this a moment ago, that y'all were without your normal means of communication the second half of that game. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
And that is a disadvantage. Now y'all played well that second half, but I would like mention from Dr. Colwell, Dr. Nivens. There may be a little advantage there. Yes, sir, Dr. Nivens.
Well, we all know that the best planners are coaches. Coaches have plans from A through Z because you just don't know what will happen. And I figure it probably was a disadvantage, but I don't think that was something that was so egregious to where it really hindered the team, because I'm sure coach had a lot of plans in place to address those things. I mean, coaches are master planners, so I'm not really seeing that as Mr. Kelly is, Dr. Kelly is.
Dr. Colwell, anything?
Yeah, that's a really sticky road, rocky road to go down on this competitive advantage issue. I think there are some things that, again, that are worth repeating as a cautionary tale. Is one, I believe, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, this was Bridge City so far their only loss of the year. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. From the best you can pinpoint it, there was a difference in offensive production when about when the devices were cut off. It also could be that LCM just played really well. They scout really well. It was late enough in the season where they might have had a pretty good read on what Bridge City was doing offensively, down distance, position on the field, on and on. But I can't see beyond. I have possible suspicions, but I don't have definitive conclusions about the competitive advantage piece. I do believe that when you use technology, you run, and if you use it all year and all of a sudden it's interrupted for whatever reason, that's an issue. And whether it's your headsets, whether it's your iPads that you're able to use within the rules, all those things that you have to adjust to. And I believe Dr. Niven said it well. Coaches are master planners, and they can make those adjustments. So I do understand some of the concerns about competitive advantage here, and I completely understand the vote, but I cannot go down that path with what we have right now.
Yeah. And I will say one other thing. One of the things that, you talk about the difference in the first half and the second half. Coach, I would say to you there at Bridge City that y'all made some good adjustments at halftime. So congratulations. And I wish this whole thing had not come up. I can't find the advantage.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to the actions of Coach Gonzales.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be sitting here. We wouldn't be having suspicious concerns about the validity of
Exactly right.
LCM's victory. We wouldn't have any of those pieces that, and of course, the other side, is it, ethically, and that's one thing in the league, and we need to talk about Ray and AJ is because you're all going to look at rules and guidelines going into the second year of the use of this technology, about when technology is disrupted, when is it my responsibility as opposing coach to take the wristband and do what with it, or when it's found, not use it, throw it in the trash can. Ray, I know you can't use it. We got rules about that, but again, ethically, what you should
I hear that, and that's obviously going to be a point of conversation with our football rules advisory committee, etc. But I also think that it was very clear that they cannot be in possession. The only people that can be in possession of this are the actual players on the field. So we definitely have some conversation, some evaluation of all of this. This causes us to pause, and we will have those conversations for sure.
Yeah, possession is 9/10 of the law. I understand that, but this was pretty unique, and I'm sure there'll be other uniqueness going forward. And I know you guys will do a good job with that with the rules.
We will take no action on the high school program there at this time, just because of what we've seen. It's unfortunate, and look forward to Mr. Zapata, you and your group always do a great job. And, you know, if someone loses their capabilities on one side, ought to be lost. Something ought to be lost on the other side. But obviously, these weren't level because one side was using this kind of technology and the other one wasn't. So, growing pains. I want to say thank you to all of you who've been involved in this. I know there's disappointment here, probably some on both sides, but we've ruled as we need to rule. Dr. Nolte?
I think Mr. Zapata was about to ask for clarification on suspension.
Yeah, I was just going to, just to make sure, and I know this has been a point of conversation in other disciplinary cases where coaches have been suspended, is what that suspension is defined as. And was going to give you an opportunity to speak into that, given past practice.
Okay. Well, and we probably need to discuss that because for me, when a coach is suspended, he does not have any involvement whatsoever in the football aspect of the next the games, however long they are, and that would start immediately with you. I think y'all probably got a game tonight.
Yes, sir. That's the understanding.
That's how.
Out,
That's
out
what
of
we
the
voted.
field, out of the field house.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. All right. Any other comments, questions that need to be made? We're going to remove the members of that joined us. And again, thank you. A lot of work went into this from all schools. District Chair did a nice job. Dr. Kelly, couldn't ask for more information. We just couldn't quite get there with what we
Yes,
had.
sir.
Thank you. All right.
Guys, thank you. Thank you for all your time and know that we respect your decision. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, it's time to see, is there anything else we need to discuss? I would think not. So.
No, sir. No, sir. Hopefully not. As you know, we're at the ready, given the where we are in football season for potential additional meetings. But for now,
yeah, currently we don't have any information relative to anything else right now.
Okay.
But
well,
let's stay at the ready.
Hey, Dr. Colwell, Dr. Nivens, thank you so much. Well done. We will maybe see y'all later this afternoon or down the road. Thanks to staff. This meeting is adjourned.
Thanks,
Caroline, can you call? You have my cell phone number. Can you give me a call?
Sure, will do.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.